What you are seeing on screen is my Dragon's Dogma 2 character, and he is level 999. Why is my Dragon's Dogma 2 character level 999? Well, I spent a lot of time on this game. As a matter of fact, I spent more time than I'm actively comfortable with this entire game. I am somebody that loves Capcom. I grew up with God Hand, Beautiful Joe, Monster Hunter. I grew up with Onimusha. If you don't know these games, that's perfectly fine. I don't expect anyone to. A lot of them are niche titles, to be quite fair with you. Some of you might know Okami. Some of you might know Onimusha, actually. But Dragon's Dogma 2 was not a game that I expected to ever come out. I have waited, I believe, over 10 years for this game. I was super excited. I was so excited that my eye began to violently twitch 20 hours into the game because of the frustration and stress and anger when I began to realize what the game was. Dragon's Dogma, when the game first came out, I was over the moon. I had saw the trailer, I believe in 2012, for Dragon's Dogma, and I had bought the game. It was in 2011 and 2012, but I bought the game after that, a year or two after that, and I invested so much time into Dragon's Dogma. The gameplay, the world, everything was beautiful. Duke, Edmund Dragonsbane, Mercedes, every character had this weird, odd feel to them, this mysticism to how they operated within the confines of the world, and I was enthralled. I was over the moon. I loved every single bit of Dragon's Dogma, and the main centerfold of the entire game, Dougland the Dragon. Sorry, Grigori. I call him Dougland. Grigori was the pivotal piece. He was not malicious or evil. He was a force of nature. Grigori stole your heart, giving you immortality, allowing you to not feel the beating heart within your chest, and you fought for the will to live. This story makes no sense. I would just keep the immortality. Truly, story makes zero sense. But I didn't care about that. There's a chimera outside. There's a cyclops. And if you were to imagine in your brain what a cyclops looks like, that's exactly what a cyclops looks like in the game. You imagine a chimera, you put three creatures together, that's exactly what the creatures look like. The designs for the creatures are so basic, very D&D. Dragon's Dogma is in its nature. Conceptually, you are the Arisen, a chosen one. And it was beautiful. The game had a very strange ending with the Everfall opening up. It was so odd. And I didn't understand the story. Upon 27 subsequent playthroughs, I still did not understand the story. Why am I the Seneschal now? Is it an endless loop? What is going on? Until I finally thematically tried to understand the infinite loop. And it was beautiful. I thought this could be built upon. And it did. In the Dark Arisen DLC. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen was not made by Itsuno. It was not spearheaded by the person that made Devil May Cry 3 through 5. It was not spearheaded by the person that made Dragon's Dogma. It was spearheaded by Kento. Same with Dragon's Dogma Online, which is my favorite Dragon's Dogma. I got the chance while it was active to play Dragon's Dogma Online. Very happy for that. And Dark Arisen is probably the greatest thing to ever happen to Dragon's Dogma. I love going through the dungeons and fighting death. I love going through the dungeons and fighting Damon. It is so fun to have this infinite grind loop. It creates an infinity to the game, but the original Dragon's Dogma did not have that. The Ur-Dragon could be considered that, but the original Dragon's Dogma did not have an infinite repeated loop besides the actual story in itself. And it made me feel like the story insists upon itself, as if it's supposed to be good by itself. Kind of like an iPhone, if that makes any sense. The story wanted to be really good for what it was. It wanted to be good because the story thought itself was good. And that is scary in nature. That is scary in nature. So I waited. I kept replaying it, trying to play Dragon's Dogma Online with nobody online, playing with people that were in a Discord server that was disgustingly dying, going through to and fro to get a VPN to connect to different servers. It was hellish to do all these steps. And so let's go back to my character right here, Dragon's Dogma 2. Let's look at him. He's level 999. I got to level 999. I think I was the 5th person to reach max level in this game, according to at least the Reddit. From what I saw, it became less of a feat later on, but I reached max level because I have the Medusa bow, and I just kept using that as a wayfarer to have fun with the game. Lower them down with daggers and kunais, and then defeat them with the bow. So I was pretty excited to reach level 999 until I realized that level 200, around there, 200 range, my stats stopped going up. I don't know why my stats stopped going up, but they just stopped going up. So what was the point of reaching 999? I don't know. I have no clue of why I reached this high plateau of level. I have no clue. I was angry because I thought my stats would keep going. But this goes to a core issue that I found with the entire game. The game doesn't know how to scale its difficulty. Let's talk about the best thing about Dragon's Dogma and Dragon's Dogma 2, the combat. Because we're not going to talk about the story yet, because the story sucks. Dragon's Dogma's combat is amazing. It's the core focal point of why I love the game. It is so good. It starts off and you're struggling against bigger creatures. If you're ingenuitive, if you can use your brain, you can figure out how to take down a Minotaur, a Minotaur, however they say it. You can figure out how to take out a Cyclops by using smart things with your pawns. You can figure this out by using teamwork and group cohesion. But at around level 34, Minotaurs became super easy. Around 40, I could go by myself and fight a Minotaur. And 40 is not that hard. I was exploring in the game, and I had reached level 40 before I even got to the main big city because I wanted to learn the layout of the map. I wanted to explore and memorize it without relying on the map, so that's what I did. I memorized the first area, and then I walked by myself, find a Minotaur, and defeated him at level 40 by myself with gear that I found from a wandering merchant and some gear that I have found in a dungeon. It rewarded me for exploring, and I was very happy. I assumed there was going to be more creatures. Fought another Minotaur, another Minotaur, another Minotaur, and by that point I was level 45. 45 before reaching the main city. You would think, oh, you should reach the main city, progress the story. Wrong, I just wanted to explore. And I was enjoying this new world that I didn't know, all this newness. It was fascinating. All these goblins and saurians, the harpies, all these enemies I encountered in Dragon's Dogma 1, but they were new to me. I was super excited. I was over the moon. Afterwards, in the wild, randomly, I found a Chimera. Oh my god. And it was fun. This was a new inventive fight. It was amazing. And while I was fighting the Chimera, an ogre appeared. And it fell off. And I got a level up to get the health I needed to finally do the pushing blow against the Chimera. I was over the moon. I was over the sun. Chimera, however you say it, I felt great. And then I got over encumbered, and I actually had to go to a rest town, a checkpoint town, and I found a checkpoint rest stop town. And as I left the checkpoint rest spot town, through the sky, a griffin just came down on me. And I fought that griffin and I lost. It was my first loss in the game. I was super excited. So I thought to myself, maybe I should go at night and I wouldn't be able to encounter a griffin. But then I encountered a Doulahan. It was so fun. The ghost I couldn't fight because I didn't have any elemental stuff, and the Doulahan was such a new, inventive fight. The Headless Horseman was so creative. And then I found a lich, like a greater lich, whatever that thing is, and it started resurrecting Cyclopses. It was insane. It was so much going on, so much visual noise. And if this is what the game was going to be, oh, this is amazing. So I reached level 56. And I finally went to the main story. The game died down a little bit. I got ox carts unlocked. Then I noticed something. I decided to try to go by myself. Without any pawns, I tried to go just alone out in the wilderness. And I did. I was out alone, enjoying my time. I wasn't having many issues with anything, actually. Then I encountered a dragon, a Draco, wyvern. I encountered one of those boys. I will steal your heart. Speaking in Latin to me. Oh, getting saucy with me. Arriba! Let's get it. I fought the dragon, and it was a hard-fought battle. Got 2 levels off that fight. I was by myself. Had experience booster on me. I was very excited. After that one dragon fight, Drakes weren't that hard for anymore. Like at all. I had encountered a Drake fighting a Cyclops, and I fought that one by myself. Drakes were not hard at all. After that, had I leveled up too far? I kept exploring and exploring, and by the time I was level 80, nothing was hard. Like nothing. Not a single thing was difficult. So I'm thinking I'm going to encounter something that's going to be difficult, harder. I'm thinking I'm going to encounter something that's bigger than that. But let's go through the creatures I've discussed. I fought a Drake, fought a Minotaur, fought a Griffin. I fought some Golems, fought a Chimera. And I fought a bunch of goblins, maybe some ogres, some liches. There's not that many creatures in this game, is there? I know what you're going to say. Well, that's like 9, 8 bosses, like 10 bosses. Yeah, there's not that many creatures in the game. Dragon's Dogma 1 had a lot more. It had a Hydra. Let's talk about it. It had a Hydra. Had ogres. Had the liches, the big liches that they had. Had a Chimera. Had wyverns of 2 different varieties. At least that's variety there. And then they had what was in the Everfall, which were the Gore Chimeras, which came up later in Dragon's Dogma 2. But then they had Dark Arisen. I can't really count Dark Arisen. If we're going base game for base game, maybe they have the same base game. Let's give it some credit. However, if we're going giving it some credit, this game had 12 years to bake, right? 10, 12 years to bake. I was confused because I was getting punished for exploring. Is there a harder difficulty I can play? No, there's no difficulty settings in Dragon's Dogma. There is none. It is just a game that has the base difficulty, and you go through and play the base difficulty. So I was a little bit concerned and perplexed. I thought there would be a hard mode, maybe a new game plus. So I rushed through, I got to level 95, and I decided, okay, I'm just going to beat the game. And I fought Gregori. It was in nothing. It was nothing. After New Game Plus, I got the Unmoored World. That was cool, but I had a time limit. Every time I died, I had to go back to the beginning. So I had to really plot out everything. It was really bad. I hated that. That was not fun. I don't like being stopped for time when I explored a new area because all the oceans dried up, which is an amazing concept for gameplay. That's cool. All the oceans dried up. However, when the oceans dried up, I had a time limit to explore. And there's new enemies that I want to discover. New things, new items, new things. It was so much more. But I felt like I was on a time limit because I didn't get the chance to explore. Because every time I perished, I had to keep going. And that's where you're supposed to rely on wake stones. They didn't have a lot of wake stones. They're a very rare commodity in this game. They don't drop like in the Everfall. So I was really confused. I was just really confused. New Game Plus comes around. I'm going through thinking, okay, the enemies are going to be a lot tougher. They are not. I could have stayed on my first playthrough. And very strangely, I set down port crystals to do a faster exploration. And the port crystals did not stay in their location. In Dragon's Dogma 1, if you set down a port crystal, you could use it the same way in the next playthrough and use a fairy stone to go to that next port crystal. It encouraged exploration because it encouraged you setting down your own fast travel points, but that was completely taken out, which was strange. Because by the time I had reached level 104, the exploration got really boring. I had discovered everything. I had known where everything was. I knew where the spawn points of certain enemy was. There was no variety. And yeah, it was chaotic and visual noise, but I was used to the visual noise because I know it couldn't really harm me because I was already set and ready to go as I was a wayfarer and I had all my things unlocked. By the 5th playthrough of this game, I had done every side quest and gotten all the special items. I'd finally found my initial Seeker's token, the first one. My Finder's token to give to the Sphinx, so I finally got the achievement for getting all of the riddles done from the Sphinx. Finally got that done. Thank God. But what was there else? Is that it? I'm supposed to just accept that there's nothing more? And that was the gameplay. And don't get me wrong, the gameplay is amazing. Oh, it is so good. Oh, it's so good. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it right now. I'm getting goose pimples on my back. But good gameplay doesn't make up for lackluster story. Good gameplay doesn't make up for lackluster everything else. The quality of life in this game is so lackluster. There was a feature in Dragon's Dogma 1 where you could sell from your inventory, and that had to be later added in. I'm not even sure if it's in right now. I really don't. I haven't tested it. I have not tested it. I don't know. Hopefully it's still in. Hopefully it's in there now. I don't know. There are so many small things in this game that were significantly worse than in Dragon's Dogma 1. In Dragon's Dogma 1, there were things that weren't issues, but somehow made new issues. So we're back at the same issue of Dragon's Dogma 1. Dragon's Dogma 1 was a game that had great potential. If it was just polished a bit more, it could have been phenomenal. There were a few rough edges, but the jank made it special. And that's why I loved about it. Dragon's Dogma 2, however, has new jank and somehow new issues with a prettier coat. Dragon's Dogma 2 isn't a sequel, more so it's a remake of the original game to me. That's how it feels. It doesn't feel like Dragon's Dogma 2. It feels like Dragon's Dogma Unleashed. Dragon's Dogma Awakened. Dragon's Dogma Arisen is what it feels like. It feels like something different. As a matter of fact, I almost hate that they call it Dragon's Dogma 2. It should have just been called Dragon's Dogma Revamped or Dragon's Dogma True or something else. Something lore related. Dragon's Dogma Seneschal or something like that. I don't know. It should have been called something else. So now I'm left with the issue of the story. Is the story good? No. No. No, no, no. No. I didn't expect the story to be good. Let's talk about the story. I can't name a single character in the story. I can at least name Duke Dragon's Edmund Dragonsbane. I can at least name him. The Dragon Forged? Mercedes, at the very least, I can name a Dragon's Dogma 1. Dragon's Dogma 2? Can't name a single character. I can't name one. Because there is no heart in any character. The first guy that we encountered, a black dude, don't even know his name. No idea. Can't even say I'm being racist. I'm black. Can't even do that on me. Can't even pull that card on me. No idea. No clue who this guy is. He's supposed to be insanely important. And let's talk about the false Arisen. He has a pendant that makes the pawn scared of him, made of worm crystal. No idea. He's not even relevant to the story. He doesn't do anything for the story. He's just an idiot. He's not conniving. It's because of the queen. I don't feel like I'm earning my spot because I'm the Arisen. I'm supposed to be the true heir of everything. And the guy knows that I'm the Arisen. How does he know I'm the Arisen? Does he already know that it's a trick? Is he playing dumb? I don't know. We go to Back Batal. There's really no issue between the furries and the humans in this entire game. There's really no big issue. I don't understand why the Beastkin don't like it. I don't really grasp that either. Doesn't make any sense to me. They said, we don't worship the Arisen. I didn't even pay attention to the story that deeply over the 5 playthroughs because it was so boring. And then there is this I'm going to play this scene from Dragon's Dogma 1. And I have a visual, so it makes it more entertaining to watch if you're watching this and not just listening. This is Gregory's speech. Observe.
What is your purpose here, Arisen? If you sought to live, you had naught but run and hide yourself away. But then, tell me, child of man, what does it mean to live in truth? To wage war against the passing of days. To pray to the unseen for a few breaths more. To raise grand cities from stone and spawn new life in turn. Mankind has done this, yes, and more. But is the tapestry you weave truly of your own design?
We eat when hungry, and we sleep when tired of eating. We kill them as we watch them dead.
Their kind is easy to fathom. They go on living from simple fear of death. But not mankind. Some welcome the end with arms outstretched. while others come to face death incarnate, arms in hand. I ask again, what is your purpose here, Arisen? One path to your survival lies in my defeat. Still my heart, and you stay the coming end. Another path before you is to offer up that which you hold most dear. Abandon all delusions of control. For the price of a single life, I shall leave this land in peace. As my vanquisher, the duchy would bow to you. Wealth and power are sweet anodyne for heartache. You'll not gainsay my terms are more than generous. If it matters aught, the man who rules this land now won that honor through just such a bargain. The decision is yours, Arisen. Now, choose.
Now, in Dragon's Dogma 2, he does not have that amazing speed. He doesn't have anything close to it. He doesn't have anything to even give a smidgen of semblance of closeness to what that was. He has nothing compared to that. He gives false platitudes the entire way through. In Dragon's Dogma 1, Grigori felt like an ever-present threat. He would pop up sometimes. He would speak to you through your heart. He felt like he was in the game. Dragon's Dogma 2, he pops up in the beginning. He doesn't even pop up in the beginning. He pops up in a flashback. We don't really get to feel him. He pops up in a flashback because you already lost your heart. So you already lost your heart. We don't get that initial beginning part. He pops up in a flashback, and then after he pops up in said flashback, he pops up at the very end of the game to give some weird exposition about the cycle of rebirth. He's not even a real antagonist in the game. There's no true antagonist in this game. It's just you exploring and enjoying an adventure, which is nice. I love that. That's cool. I enjoy learning an adventure. I enjoy learning things about the world. That's really fun. However, there's something deep missing in this game. Something feels icky when I go through and I'm punished because the game doesn't scale with me. I would love it if the game scaled with me. I would love it if the fact that I'm level 999 meant something. I would love that, besides the fact that it costs more rift crystals to rent my pawn who's level 200 something because I leveled up without my pawn. I would love that, but it means nothing in the grand scheme of things. It means zilch, squilch, nada. Doesn't mean anything. It's a worthless achievement and a worthless game that has not rewarded me for exploration. It has not rewarded me for existing. It has not rewarded me for spending a copious amount of time in the mechanics and systems of this game. Let's talk about the side quests. The side quests are great. I like the fact that these side quests now lock ultimate vocation skills. For instance, you're not going to get the high maelstrom or the high bolide without actively doing the side quest. You're not going to get the best skill for your pawn when it comes to being a support pawn if you don't do that random little girl's quest. You're not going to be able to do the Jedi Orb thing correctly. You're not going to be able to do this right if you don't have high enough this and that. There are other sequences. And with the Sphinx quest, that was equally great and equally annoying. The Sphinx quests were amazing, great riddles that cause you to actually pay attention to everything. And to my credit, I did the first 2 tries without looking up a guide, which is great. And I actually beat the Sphinx the second try. First try I messed up. I beat the Sphinx without a guide, so I'm very happy. Third try I used the Maker's Arrow immediately. I'm not gonna let anybody, but I did that, and I was very happy about that. I'm very excited that I actually did that of my own volition, on my own strength. That was amazing to do. It felt like a true accomplishment. Later in, it feels like the Sphinx should probably have more than just one Sphinx fight. The Sphinx was nice because there was one of them, but I would have liked to have fought more Sphinx, I feel. And I wish there was better enemy variety. I wish there was more. I went through my first 3 playthroughs without doing any of the elf stuff, which is commitment to the bit. That is commitment. I love that. The fact that I didn't do any elf stuff the first 3 playthroughs, that's great. It shows I didn't explore good enough. I love that. But afterwards, upon me doing all of the extra stuff, I discovered that the elf stuff was kind of worthless. Didn't really add much to the story of the game if I could skip it 3 times over. It really didn't add anything to the story if I could skip it 3 times over. It added 0 things to the game. 0 things. It's so weird that this game is trying to be so many things when it feels like it's nothing. It's like you're watching somebody try to imitate 100 different people where you don't know who they are themselves. It's like I'm watching a caricature of what Dragon's Dogma 1 wants to be in Dragon's Dogma 2. I don't know how to feel about the game because the game doesn't allow me to feel anything about it for a long extended period of time because it doesn't know what it wants to be. It's trying to be so many things, but it doesn't know that it wants to be Dragon's Dogma, and that is scary to me. A lot of people had a lot of issues. There was a lot of controversy when the game came out about the fast travel. Obviously, those people probably didn't even hear about Dragon's Dogma 1. That's just how fast travel worked in Dragon's Dogma 1. It really wasn't that big of an issue. It was blown out of proportion. I'm upset with this game because XYZ. And then the optimization was garbage. This game was so poorly optimized that it almost broke my PC. This game was so piss poor optimized that I played it in the lowest settings and it still almost bottlenecked and annihilated my entire PC. That is impressive. I have a really strong PC. I have 128 gigabytes of RAM. I have an i9. I have 4070. I was really surprised that it messed up my PC. I was perplexed. I didn't realize that it was going to do that. I don't even know what was messing up. Was it ray tracing? Didn't figure it out, but they released a patch that slightly fixed it. I was playing on lowest settings, and now I can play at medium settings, which is okay, I guess. That is horrible. That was a horrible, horrible thing that happened to me. I hated every minute of that. And it sounds like I'm complaining about the game, but I really want to tell you this from the bottom of my heart. This is an amazing game. If you haven't played Dragon's Dogma 2, I recommend experiencing it for the first time. It is outstanding. I don't know if there's going to be any DLC at all, because people are saying, well, it's Suno left Capcom. By the time I made this, it's Suno left Capcom. This is September 1st where I'm making this video. Everybody thinks it's Suno left Capcom. But to be fair, Itsuno is the reason this game is failing. Itsuno had a vision for this game, and he was so hell-bent on his vision for the game that he refused to accept any criticisms because he wanted his game to be his game so deeply. It was Kento who made Dark Arisen and Dragon's Dogma Online. Dragon's Dogma Online had very little input from Itsuno, and that is the best thing ever produced from Dragon's Dogma. It was Dragon's Dogma Online. I could play that for years. That's the best thing to ever come out of Dragon's Dogma, ever. I am so upset. There's no online cohesion to the game. I would have loved it if we could link up and play with players, but that's not part of the story. It's not part of the lore. It doesn't work with the lore. Make a separate mode where there's an online version of the game. That would work so well. If you could make a separate mode inside the game, Red Dead Redemption did it. Red Dead Online. I would buy a $40 version of Dragon's Dogma 2 Online right now to play with my friends and fight a series of raid bosses and increase the enemy variety. I would play that. I would play the crap out of that. They could add 7 more classes. They don't even have to add anything extra. They could just add the Magic Archer, the Mystic Knight. They could just add the things from the Dragon's Dogma Online games. It wouldn't even be that hard to. They already have the base template. That'd be great. It would be so simple. And since we're talking about classes, let's talk about classes. I played a warrior for most of my first playthrough. And then afterwards, I just did all the characters in one big exploration thing. I don't appreciate the trickster. I'll get to the trickster in a minute, but the warrior is a good class. Very nice, very balanced, very good all-around class. Especially if you have an elemental blade, you can pretty much just solo most things. There is definitively the rogue assassin is the best class in the game, period, because of the skull splitter skill. There is nothing better than that. The skull splitter skill makes this child's play to and fro 100 times over. It is childish how it goes. I'm happy that we don't have a bow and arrow with the skull splitter because the archer class sucks. The archer class is garbage. I have nothing good to say about the archer class, period. There's no good thing I can say about the archer ranger classes at all. They suck. Worst class. It's just a bow and arrow. Complete support. I hate them with my whole soul. They are no good at all. I don't get. Maybe if you give your pawn a ranger archer class, they could be good, but they suck indefinitely. They do nothing for anyone. I just upgraded them to get the augments, and the augments aren't even that good. Warrior class is okay. It's fun to be a big brooding guy with a lot of knockback power. That's fun. I got them all to max status, so I'm just talking about what I enjoy about them small and burst. Sorcerer class is just insane. Sorcerer class is disgustingly insane. It's a crazy strong class. Maelstrom and Bolide are nuts. Just insane classes all around, especially if you get the high version of them. They are insane. Then we get to the deeper classes, the more nuanced classes. The Mystic Spearhand is just the best class in the game. I may have missed some classes, by the way. You can tell me in the comment section below if I missed some classes. I don't care. Mystic Spearhand is the best class in the game, period. You can essentially become invincible with the bubble skill, and then using the stamina stat skill, you can pretty much avoid all damage in its entirely. You can just avoid all damage forever. Wayfarer shouldn't be a class. You can... If you get the Wayfarer, you don't need to get any other class. They say, well, there's a drawback because you get a bit weak. It doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter. The drawback is worthless. You still do crazy amounts of damage. You can get the Skull Splitter skill and the infinite stamina stat in the same build, and you can get a bow and arrow with that. And the Wayfarer can hold 11 weapons. It can hold every weapon in the game, and it only accounts for the largest weapon weights. That's all it accounts for. That's it. You can use every weapon in the game on one thing. It only accounts for the largest weapon weight. So you can beat every class in the game with the Wayfarer. It's pointless to use any other class when you unlock the Wayfarer. It really is. And that's why I upgraded the Trickster. The Trickster is good if it is used in combination with the Wayfarer. I'm lying. The Trickster is bad all around. The Trickster is a support class that is supposed to be a Trickster class where you're supposed to lead enemies and make them angry, and they're supposed to attack a different thing, and it's supposed to be this mysticism class where you're a Trickster, and it is a good concept, but in practice, it is the worst thing ever because you do 0 damage, and it sucks because one of the special items you get, a special weapon you get for the Trickster, allows you to generate gold, which would be a great way to farm if the Trickster was good. It is not. The Trickster sucks. The Trickster is the worst class I've ever dealt with in my life. I never want to play a Trickster ever. I never want to touch the Trickster. I never want to be in the same room as the Trickster. If I was in a room with Darth Vader and Mussolini and whoever invented cancer, like the person who invented it, and the first person to sleep with an animal to make STDs, and I had 100 bullets, and somehow accidentally I could leave the room and have those guys come with me to find a Trickster player or the person who made the Trickster class, I would pistol whip them with the weapon. In GTA, obviously. Calm down, YouTube. In GTA. It's so nuts. Oh, I hate that class so much. And I'm probably missing a class because it's so unimportant that it doesn't even matter. I'm probably missing a class that's so unimportant it didn't even matter. It's probably so unimportant. But they could have done better work with the classes, I feel. Mystic Spearhand goes sicko mode. But they could have done significant work better with the classes. Or given me more classes. That would have been great. And I've been waiting. I waited until we get announcements to see if we get DLC. So I was waiting to make this video. I don't think we're getting DLC unless Kento gets back on the team. I would love if Dragon's Dogma got an online version. Just purely focused, a live service version of Dragon's Dogma. I would play that. I would dedicate my whole channel around that. You'd see a shift in content immediately. I would shift all my content to doing that. I would lose so many subscribers. I would do that immediately. I would hope that my Patreon would be able to support me. By the way, I have a Patreon. It's $1 a month. I appreciate anybody that's supporting the Patreon. If we can get all 30,000 of you guys to give me $1 a month, I can quit everything that I'm doing else and actually focus on making longer form videos and actually get more editing done with things like that. I would love that deeply. But back to the video. I am so sick of Dragon's Dogma 2. So I've talked about the exploration, I've talked about the combat, I've talked about the story being lackluster and garbage, I've talked about it being rushed. The story's rushed, by the way. I talked about there being no thematic relevance. I can't remember any of the characters. I talked about the classes. Why do I still love this game? And why do I recommend you play it? I think you should play the game. I think that you should get the game, full price by the way, and enjoy and experience what this is. I recommend you play Dragon's Dogma 1 as well. Because Capcom is a series. Capcom is a game company that throughout its entire lifetime has made games that have disgustingly failed. Beautiful Joe, catastrophic failure. Beautiful Joe 1, Beautiful Joe 2, Beautiful Joe Red Hot Rumble, catastrophic failure. They tried to copy the Smash Bros. Formula, and that failed. Capcom tried to copy the Smash Bros. Formula with 2 games that didn't need it. Onimusha, which was Onimusha Blade Warriors, and Beautiful Joe Red Hot Rumble. They tried to copy the Smash Bros. Party Arena Fighter gameplay thing of platform arena party games, and they failed miserably. They tried to hype on that hype, and that was a failure on all fronts. But I respect them for being so just heartless when making those games that were soulless completely. They sucked so deeply. Capcom tried, because they were trying to put new life into a game to try to at least try to make it get a profit out of it, because they wanted these games to succeed. They're passion projects. Onimusha, God Hand, Okami, Beautiful Joe, Dino Crisis, all these games were passion projects. And the one passion projects that succeeded got more. Resident Evil, Street Fighter even. All these games that tried their best to be something more and failed because they came up too short. They came up too short. I don't know if you guys remember Street Fighter versus Tekken. That was a passion project. They tried their best. It would have been better if it was Tekken versus Street Fighter, where they had the Tekken formula and they actually had the Namco thing, and that was a collaborative effort, and that was amazing. Dragon's Dogma 2 is a collaborative effort between my love of potential and my patience as a nigga. It is 2 things that come together. I am so upset with Dragon's Dogma 2 because it insults me. It insults my exploration. It insults my love of understanding a story. It insults my need of wanting more from a video game. It insults what I saw the potential in with Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. It insults my patience for wanting to explore and understand the game. It insults what I wanted and loved and convinced everybody to buy the game. I bought this game for 20 of my friends because I wanted them to play. And we couldn't play together. I just used their pawn. And we went to and fro. And I'm not sponsored. I don't have this big storehold of money. I just had extra money. I wanted to help. I wanted to make this game succeed. And I'm so upset that I'm shilling for a company that will never care about me at all. And I love Capcom. If they told me to sponsor a game, I'd immediately jump on it. I love everything Capcom produces. I still play Exoprimal. I love this company with my chest and my whole soul. I love every passion project they make. I love the nonsense they try to produce. I love the fact that they give directors whole projects and give them free reins to do whatever their vision insists upon. I love that. I really do. But they still need to make money, and I understand that. And it will be a cash cow to make this fighting system of Dragon's Dogma or even Dragon's Dogma 2 into an online game. They've done it before, and Dragon's Dogma Online was amazing. If they released that in the States, it would go boingo mode. I would love everything about it. It would be cathartic if I could just have a second to just enjoy this game. And I got to max level thinking that I was going to get some gift or some achievement or something. Why'd they add 999 levels if they stopped the stat increases? It's just a worthless medal for participation in a game that doesn't care about your time. That's all it is. And it makes me feel gross every second of every moment enjoying this game because it doesn't care. It doesn't want to care about me. It tells me actively to my face that I am worthless. And I eat it up because I love this company so much and I love the vision of what they try to produce. Dragon's Dogma 2 should have been better. Dragon's Dogma 2 should have been the game that made me feel something again. And for the first 20 hours of me playing the game, I did feel that thing. Until I realized after that 20 hours, it was horrible. To put it in perspective, you can probably understand if you are a human. Let's say there's a very beautiful person. Boy, girl, doesn't matter. Very beautiful. And you have been wondering if the person likes you your entire life. You have been racking your brain around, oh, do they actually enjoy me? Do they like me? And then out of nowhere, after 10 years of you waiting to have conversation with them, they send you a letter. And the letter says, I love you. I've loved everything about you. I want to be with you. And you're excited. Because you see this person, you haven't learned anything about this person, by the way, but you see this person, and you've heard through passing, and they're amazing, they're great, they're beautiful on all fronts. They're beyond your dream girl, dream guy, whatever. And after going on a few dates, you're excited. And so you lay betwixt the sheets with them. And it's fine. Nothing crazy. Nothing insane. Then afterwards, you do it again, and you realize that this is it. This is the game. This is the person. And they're not willing to change anything about themselves because they believe that they are perfect because you've told them over and over that they're perfect. So they don't change anything. And you bring valid complaints to them over and over again saying, hey, I think we should do this. I think we should do that. But they're saying, but you told me I was perfect. And that's Dragon's Dogma 2. That is Dragon's Dogma 2. It insists upon itself. It's an iPhone. It's too gaudy to even change itself because it thinks it's perfect. It's sad. It's very, very sad. I think the worst thing about this entire rant is that I haven't given up on Dragon's Dogma 2. I haven't given up on the idea and facilities that make this game so amazing. I haven't given up on the idea that this game could one day be prosperous. I haven't given up on the small things because they show me small things about it. It's how probably people feel about multiverses. I am known as a prolific multiverses hater because of the way the game feels, how it feels gross and disgusting. And despite the fact that it has nice animations, the core concepts of the game multiverses is just gross. Dragon's Dogma 2 is just like multiverses to me, where I believe so deeply in the devs and producers of the game that they're going to salvage this and make something more from it. Because I think they care about the game. I really do, but I don't know. And that not knowing, that fear of the unknown makes me so angry. It makes me irritated because I want there to be more from this. I never have the opportunity to have something I can put my whole soul and body behind so deeply. I am an extremely passionate human. I am so excited about the smallest, weird, minutia little things. I am so over the moon about weird, small things. I love every morning when my wife gets up and she has horrible morning breath because it's her. I really do enjoy those moments. I enjoy the fact that my legs hurt when I go for a run sometimes because it lets me know that I'm alive. I enjoy the fact that sometimes I don't feel like getting up and I force myself to get up. It shows that I've overcome a negative trait about myself. I'm overcoming my uncomfortability and it makes me feel powerful. I enjoy that I like Poppy Playtime, despite the fact that it is probably just dribble garble and stupid nonsense analog horror, but I'm so excited for the new chapter to come out. I like small, stupid little things because I'm disgustingly simple. I am a disgustingly simple person. It was like when No More Heroes 3 got released and came to no fanfare. I didn't even expect No More Heroes 3 to ever get released, but it did. And when it got released, I bought it immediately and I played it first day and I beat it in a single day. I loved it and I continued to beat it. And I expected nothing from that game. Dragon's Dogma 2 is something that hurts to talk bad about. It hurts to talk bad about because I have 741 hours in this game. It hurts to talk bad about it because I spent so much of my time wasted on a game that doesn't respect me. It hurts to talk about it because it could have been one of the greatest things to ever come out. It came out the beginning of 2024, this year that I'm making this. And I feel like that it has so many missteps that could have been easily corrected, that could still be corrected. But something struck a chord with me when I saw two reviewers, the Inamo Dynamo and Moist Critical, those two, say they weren't going to play Dragon's Dogma 2. Moist Critical is prolifically a lover of Dragon's Dogma, and the Inamo Dynamo has such a small creator. I think he has 400 subscribers. And all he does is make introspectives and retrospectives, and they're very bad. They're very poorly put together. I do not recommend his channel at all, except for the one video where he made about Dragon's Dogma 2 why he won't be playing it. His videos are very poorly put together, but I love his passion, and I love that he's just making videos not as a way to make money, just as a hobby and a passion project. And that's beautiful. I love that. It's what I wanted to do for a long time, to talk about things that meant something dear and near to me, to talk about something that meant something to my soul, to talk about something that you guys could enjoy with me. With Dragon's Dogma 2, I don't know if I enjoy it, and that's the worst part. Imagine waiting over 10 years for something you're so certain is going to be amazing. That everybody that said it was going to suck, you can say, look at this. This is amazing. Everybody loves it. But monetization, poor optimization, a lackluster story, and the only redeeming quality is that the combat is outstanding. It's one good thing in a sea of bad things. And if I know anything about people, they focused on the negative a lot more than the positive. I'll get 100 positive comments and see that one negative comment, and I'll focus on that for eons, years, centuries. It will eat me up inside, and I'll feel like garbage every time I even think about that comment. That's how humans operate. So when I hear negative things about Dragon's Dogma 2, despite praising it for its amazement, the great combat, the fun exploration, I still cannot hold a candle. I cannot hold it in high respect. I cannot truly tell you, wow, this game is amazing. It's great. It's fun. I like it, but I don't love it. And the sad part about that even statement is I love it, but I really don't like it. It's a contradictory statement that goes back in on itself, much like the game's lore where it loops back over and over again. It keeps going like an Ouroboros eating itself. It feels disgusting to talk so much mess about a game that has gotten me through horrible times in my life and has a sequel that I can finally respect and admire, but I can't respect and admire because I got to meet my hero. That's what it feels like. I'm meeting my hero, and he punched me in the stomach, and he spit in my face, and he said, thanks for spending $70 to get this ticket. I'm now going to punch you about it. Everything about Dragon's Dogma 2 makes me feel like I've wasted so much of my life. I've wasted my patience. I've wasted my passion on something that wants me to fail. Let's recap about everything and say a final word of praise to Dragon's Dogma 2. Itsuno made Devil May Cry 3, 4, and 5. Well, some of the best hack and slash games I've ever played in my entire life. Inspiration for Bayonetta as well. I love it so deeply. I love those games. Devil May Cry 3, to this day, I still play on an emulator on PS2 because it's such a fun game. Devil May Cry 5, oh, I didn't even expect to get that. Came out of nowhere with Devil May Cry 5. I was so excited. I was satisfied with ending on Devil May Cry 4. I was satisfied with that. But to fix the DMC reboot of everything, they actually made DMC 5 a continuation of the true story of everything. After that, what did I get? Dragon's Dogma. A game that I didn't expect to love so deeply, playing the Everfall for hundreds of hours, playing Dark Arisen for thousands of hours, after school, coming home, immediately hopping on, wasting my entire Saturday, the only day I have off, because Sunday my parents would force me to go to church, wasting my entire Saturday to spend time and learning and helping people fight the Ur Dragon, going into forums on game facts, and spending my free days talking to people who I never know, who are probably much older than me, just learning about them, going on Reddit and 4chan and just having conversation and discussion about this game. It was cathartic. It was nostalgic to me. And in the same way that Lost Planet 1 and Lost Planet 2 came out, my two favorite games, Lost Planet 1 and Lost Planet 2, when Lost Planet 3 came out, it was a smack to my face. This feels like Lost Planet 3. If you don't know the tragedy of Lost Planet, I'm not going to go over it. Just know that it was disrespectful to everything I stood for. Dragon's Dogma 2 came out. And my friends complained that it ruined their PC. It made it too hot. My friends complained they couldn't stream it to their friends. My friends complained about everything about the game, how they got the dragon plague or the Dragon's Plague, whatever it is that the pawns get, and it ruined their entire playthrough. How they have to gather up all the citizens to use an Eternal Wake Stone. How they had to do all these things. How they couldn't buy any equipment. How they got so mad about everything. They complained to me about every aspect about a game I wanted them to love. But I couldn't even convince them to love the game. I couldn't convince myself to love the game. It was so sad. I'm so sad that I now have to tell you to please buy the game. I'm so sad that I also have to tell you that please do not buy this game. And I feel like a fence sitter saying that because I'm stuck in this emotional turmoil of the middle part of understanding the good and the bad. And if I had to sum it up in one word, I'd say 6 out of 10? It's not even one word, that's one rating. I hate that I'm indecisive about this. Dragon's Dogma 2 should have been so much greater. It should have been the sum of all of its parts, but it is just a part of combat. What was I to gain from this? What was I to feel from this endeavor? I don't know. I feel lost. I feel empty. That I no longer get to enjoy the things that bring me passion. And this is the worst feeling on the planet. I think it is like you're showing off a trophy that means nothing to no one. It's like you're showing off your girlfriend or your boyfriend and they refuse to talk. It is the worst feeling because it is an alone feeling that is shared by many. It is a pain that many people can understand. And there are people that are going to be saying, well, there's this good about it, there's that good about it, and I know it's good. I got to max level. I know the game is good. I'm obsessed with it. And I don't want you to play it, but I want you to experience it with me. Maybe if it were online, I'd be like, hey, maybe we can play together. No, I'm not like that way. Not at all. This is the worst thing I've ever had to do, tearing apart something I genuinely love with my whole soul and passion, and telling you that Dragon's Dogma 2 should have been better. Thank you for checking out my content. If you really want to appreciate and enjoy what I do, I have a Patreon. It's $1 a month. And if I can get all of you to give me $1 a month, I can finally quit the oppressive confines of my industry job that I work at Amazon. And I'd be really happy if I could do that. This is a passion project, and I'm wasting my entire day making this video because now I have to at least add some edits into this. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to mope with me for at least a little bit. Thank you for existing. Goodbye.